Vet Testing Society, the American Pit Bull Terrier passed their tolerance test with an 86.8%. That's better than the Beagle with an 80% and the Golden Retriever with an 85.2%. My main goal today is to remove the unrealistic stereotype of the pit bull. I'm currently the owner of 3 pit bulls myself and have been for several years. I don't know which one's the bigger couch potato, but in Missouri alone, there are approximately 64 locations with breed-specific legislation, which is a law passed by a location to ban a specific breed of dog. Mainly targeted is the pit bull. Today I'm going to talk to you about some common misconceptions about the pit bull. I'm also planning on discussing their origin and some famous faces you may recognize. So to begin, let's talk about some myths. There are several misconceptions about the pit bull, so I want to clear those up with facts. Many of these misconceptions come from both parties, those for the pit bull and those against the pit bull. The most believed myth is that pit bulls have locking jaws, but there's nothing different about the anatomy from a pit bull and another dog. Another myth that many pit parents have created is that all pit bulls are gentle creatures and can be left alone with any animal. This may be the case for some dogs, but that's not for all dogs. Even though they may not be the one to instigate it, they may be the one to finish it. They are still dogs that are bred to fight. People who fear the breed and want it eliminated created the last myth that I want to talk about. They believe that if a pit bull attacks another dog, or that it's dog aggressive, that it will also attack that it will attack people next. So the ASPCA has confirmed with research that dog aggressive dogs are no more likely to direct aggression towards people than dogs who aren't dog aggressive. It's been proven that some of the best fighting dogs are the trustworthiest with people. Now that you know the truth about these misconceptions, let's talk about where the pit bull got started. The pit bull originates from Greece and were eventually brought to America by the English immigrants. I want to share with you where these dogs came from and why they were created. It is impossible to trace the pit bull back completely to where they got their beginning, but it's believed to have started with the Canis molossi, which is a tribe that originates from ancient Greece, and they used these dogs for warfare. They eventually became used for butchers who wanted to use them for their unruly bulls just because of their brute strength. And this is how the Canis molossi became known as the pit bull. The pit bull became very popular with hunters, butchers, and sportsmen. Hunters used them to track large game, butchers used them to manage their bulls and their livestock. Sportsmen began using them for baiting, and the baiting was an inhumane sport that pitted dogs against bears, bulls, and other large animals. And then in these baiting sports, animals died from either exhaustion or blood loss. It was eventually banned, and after the ban, they began pitting dog against dog because it was easier to hide, and that's how dog fighting was born. These fights grew in popularity, which made enthusiasts want better dogs. They began to breed them with black and tan terriers because they wanted to be faster and more agile. And this was the start of the pit bull. And then these dogs were brought over to America where they continued the sport, but later took on a broader and more humane function. They became work dogs and guardians due to their untiring work ethic and loving devotion to their families. They eventually became an American icon. Now that you know where these dogs came from, let's talk about where they went from there and see if you recognize some of these familiar faces. There are several famous and very talented pit bulls. They have been featured in movies and can be seen on propaganda posters dating back to World War I. Pit bulls have recently starred in Cheaper by the Dozen in 2003, Babe, Pig in the City in 1999, and the Disney movie Homeward Bound 1 and 2. One of the most famous, however, is Petey, the star from Little Rascals. Other pits who didn't make it on the movie screens made it into the history books. Stubby, for example, was one of the most decorated war heroes from 1917. He was in 17 battles and saved countless amount of soldiers. He was named a lifetime honorary member of the Red Cross and American Legion. Another pit bull hero is named Popsicle. He isn't as familiar to many people, but he's a famous everyday hero. He's the #1 U.S. Customs dog. In 1999, he helped federal agents seize 3,075 pounds of cocaine, one of the largest in Texan history. Now that you know the truth about the myths, how they got their start, and seen some familiar faces, I hope that you help spread the truth about these dogs and put anti-pit bull parties to rest. Today you have been informed about the common misconceptions, the basics of their history, and how they made it to where they are today, whether it be the movie screens or the history books. Now that you were well informed on the basics, I hope you can form your own opinion about pit bulls. I hope as now that you're knowledgeable, you can be their voice and help get rid of the unfair stereotype that comes along with their name. And those are my dogs.
Yeah.